Hey, how are you? If you are in Chicagoland, it's snowing, so that's always fun in March, and we're going to see this probably into April. But then my mom gets to post her favorite line about April being the cruelest month. But it's also the month my husband was born, so it's got its advantages. Today's keeping the real in real estate is one of my favorite subjects, what we've learned. And the reason it's one of my favorites is because I love learning new things. I love data somewhere between being raw and interpretation. Um, I love just feeling like my knowledge is expanding. And um, I've got two articles I'm going to share today. One is just kind of interesting, a trend I hadn't heard of, and the other is something I know innately. I work this into our processes, our selling strategies. I warn our sellers, but I don't think that a lot of people really grasp it. So I'm going to show you that the data supports how my team sees things and our philosophy, uh, and saves our or makes our sellers a lot of money. And this story is about how a lot of sellers lost a lot of money. So, and there's a few different ways that this can work, and certainly nothing is one size fits all. But I think if you're gonna take this chance, you should know exactly what you're getting into and what the trade-off is. So I am going to share my screen and show you how to make more money when you sell your house. Hopefully this works. No, it doesn't. We're not going to do it that way. I will share one at a time. All right, so I thought this was pretty interesting. This is, so we talk all the time about low inventory and how to get more homes available. And this was a really interesting article. There's a lot of places where people are talking about and working on converting office buildings. That's got a lot of issues. There's one of the things I read about in the issue with office conversion is that it tends to be plumbing all at one end of the building, and so to turn into fully plumbed apartments, it's really difficult because what they were built with that plumbing inside them in a void or something like that, and so it can be really expensive and really difficult to do. So this article was about cities turning old hospitals into residential housing. Interesting idea. Apparently, this is going on in some places. I haven't heard of it specifically. I would love to hear about it if you have. And let me know. It's just something I hadn't even encountered before. And then the other one, this is really, really interesting. So I don't often quote Zillow, but this article is about something I talk about all the time. In order to get the most money for your house, the most possible buyers need to see it. So You need to hire an agent who has the ability, the skills, the know-how to get your listing in front of as many people as possible. Now, just putting it in the MLS will get a lot of eyeballs in front of it. That syndicates to lots of other websites, and that does quite a bit. But there are some people who aren't even doing that much. Like, we go way above and beyond that with paid advertising and lots of other strategies that we've developed. But we have a section of the MLS that's called the Private Listing Network. And in that private listing network, agents and clients of agents can see that your property is for sale, but nobody else does. It doesn't syndicate to third-party sites. It does not go to anyone who's not specifically looking in that spot. And we use the private listing network, but we use it to stage our marketing. And by the way, everything I'm saying is 99% of the time. There are circumstances where it makes sense not to go in the MLS. There are very few circumstances where it makes sense not to go in the MLS. So we use it, but we use it to stage our marketing. So we can get ahead of the game, we can get everything in line, we can get everything out and really launch that listing the way we do. Many agents encourage their sellers to go into the private network, show, even though it's not ready, take offers, and sell without ever having gone on the market. I don't believe that in 99% of the cases, that is in a seller's best interest. And this data shows that I'm right. Off MLS, home sellers left more than $1 billion on the table in the past 2 years across the country. They say that in this article that it's an average of $5,000 lost by not going in the MLS. So that means for some people, it was less than that. For some people, it was probably much, much more than that. So the only way that we can guarantee that we get you the absolute most money for your house is if it is marketed in every possible and realistic way. Keeping it out of the place that reaches the most home buyers is just not ever going to get you the most money. So nice to see that the data supports what we know to be true. And just beware if you are talking to an agent and they say, we're going to put your listing in the private listing network, and agents are going to see it and they're going to be able to show it to their buyers, and they're going to come in one at a time, and we might never even have to go on the market at all. We might just get a great offer. Ask a few more questions. And I just don't recommend it. So there you go. See you next week.